how can we test whether we have a positive worry or we have a negative worry or fear? Do you know how we can test? Because we can deceive ourselves. You know, maybe I'm attached to dunya, but I say, no, I'm not attached to dunya. I am worried about my akhirah. Have I done enough or not? How can I test?
If it makes you struggle more to get to the next.
One is to look at my way of life. Does my way of life show that I am doing something for akhirah, or I am not? I'm just accumulating money and this. This is one thing. The other thing, you can test yourself. If you are said that even if you live longer, you are not going to improve, indeed your situation becomes worse. Will you wish to die sooner or not? Yeah. You are told that definitely your situation akhirah is not going to improve, and the way you are acting is going to become worse. Tomorrow is worse than today, and the day after tomorrow worse than tomorrow. If you have been worried about akhirah, but you know that you are not going to improve and you are going to become better, worse, so you have to wish for your death. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says, Ilahi, ammirni ma kana umri bidlatan fi ta'atik. Oh Allah, please prolong my life as long as my life is going to be spent for your obedience. فَإِذَا كَانَ مَرْتَعًا لِلشَّيْطَانِ. If my life is going to become marta, where you take your cattle to feed them, there are grass and other things. This is called marta. If my life has become a place for feeding shaitan, فَقْبِضْنِي قَبْلَ أَنْ يَسْبِقَ مَقْتُكَ إِلَيَّ أَوْ يَسْتَحْكِمَ غَضَبُكَ عَلَيَّ. Please take me away from this dunya before your anger is fixed on me. So if I know that by being here more, I would add to my problems and not to improve, then I should wish to die sooner. So this is a test. Those who are attached to dunya, they don't bother whether the situation is going to become better or worse. They just want to be here. Even if it is 1,000 years, they say we want to be here 1,000 years. They don't have any worry about akhirah. Their only worry is about dunya. There's a funny story which is maybe funny, but I think is meaningful, very meaningful. There was a person who was known to be very pious. We call mustajab al-da'wah. Have you heard mustajab al-da'wah? It means someone whose du'as are accepted by Allah. Allah answers to his du'as. Mustajab al-da'wah. So there was a tyrant, king, ruler, said to him, please pray for me. He said, may Allah kill you. He said, I told you to pray for me, not to curse me. He said, I prayed for you. Because the sooner you die, the better for you and for people. So I really wanted good for you. This is the way he, of course, prayed for him. If I was in his place, maybe we would have asked, may Allah guide you. But if there was no chance for guidance, then maybe if his life was not used more for crimes, was better for him. Anyway, sometimes for some people to die sooner, it could be a blessing because you don't know what you are going to do if you live longer. Yeah, maybe in future I'm going to become much worse than what I am. So I should take this as a blessing if Allah knows my situation is going to become worse. Then there are people who are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are so close to Allah and they have so much of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they just miss him very badly. And they so much miss him that for them remaining in this dunya is very painful. They remain in dunya just because this is their duty. They have to be pleased with Allah's decision. But they feel in dunya like a prisoner. You know, if you are in prison, you don't want to run from prison because it's illegal. You have to remain in the prison. It's illegal to run. But you count days for your release. Amir al-Mu'minin says in Khutbatul Muttaqeen, لولا الآجال التي كتب الله عليها. Had it not been that their ajal is fixed, their deadline is fixed, لن تستقر أرواحهم في أجسادهم. Their souls would not remain in their bodies طرفة عين, even for an eye's blink. شوقا إلى الثواب وخوفا من العقاب. Because of the yearning that they have for heaven and meeting Allah, and for the fear that they have about hell. So they are just on the edge of dunya. You know, if you are going to be released, where do you stay? Just next to the gate of the prison. You want to be as close as possible to the free world. So a mu'min doesn't go deep into dunya. A mu'min is on the surface of dunya, on the edge of dunya, just waiting for release, so that he can go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you have this approach, actually your life in dunya becomes much easier. Less stress, less worries, and even you can enjoy your dunya more. Yeah? You know, how much a mu'min enjoys from looking at a flower. A mu'min looks at flower and it's energized. A person who is not mu'min may look at flower, enjoy, may not enjoy. Because the experience of mu'min is totally different. You know, when you go to a garden, and you know that this garden is made by your father or grandfather, you enjoy more. And a person who is not mu'min goes to nature and doesn't know who is the garden of this nature, and whether there has been any garden or not, feels a stranger. But a mu'min goes to the nature and knows that this is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is closer to me than my father or grandfather. So it's different experience. Everything has a signature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, when you go, if you go to your father's home, you know, and your father has passed away, may Allah inshallah keep your parents for you if they're alive. But if you know, you go back to your home where, you know, your father used to live, you know, say, my father made this, you know, for example, room, he painted here, you know, he made this, you know, table for us, we used to sit here for breakfast. Everything reminds you of your father or your mother, yeah? So a mu'min, wherever he goes, he's reminded of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah made this flower for me, Allah made, you know, this children for me, Allah has given me these friends, Allah has given me honor, Allah has given me health, Allah has given me this eye, this ear. So everything is more enjoyable for you. When you eat bread, please, you know, from now on change your attitude if your attitude has not been like this. Anything that you eat, you see, spend some time on reflecting. Don't just quickly eat food or, you know, drink, you know. Look at how this is produced and cooked and now is available for you. First of all, how many people have worked on this? You know, for a soil that is used, for example, for growing, you know, wheat, if I'm not mistaken, I think every like gram or something, it takes 300 years or something like this to become soil for farmings. It's not easy to have a soil. Then growing, the farmers who have worked, then to make it flour, then someone who has made the bread. So it's not easy. Take it seriously. Sometimes I think the way we treat objects around us is very disrespectful. Why? Because it's like, for example, I go to a place, there are 30, 40 people, I don't greet anyone. And I just do my job quickly and go out. This is not respectful. When you go to a park and you see trees and gardens, greet them. And greeting them is by acknowledging that they are creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Respect them. When food is come, fruits, there is a tray of fruits, apple, orange, grape. Respect each of them. Each of them is a blessing, is a jewelry. It's not easy, don't take them for granted. Just think how they have been created. So, a moment would enjoy, a moment has endless reasons to enjoy his life. Endless reasons to enjoy your life. It's not the moment doesn't enjoy his life. But he knows that his greater pleasure still has not come. A person told Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he was very poor and Imam Hassan alayhi salam was in a very good condition. He said, you say dunya is sajnul moment, but look at your situation and my situation. I am poor, you have, for example, horse, you have, good dress, you have position. So Imam Hassan alayhi salam, according to this hadith, told him, what I am going to have and what I have now is the reason why dunya is sajnul moment. Because I am in a situation which is much less than what I am going to have in future. But for you, this is like a palace compared to what you are going to have, for example. So, I am explaining, I'm not saying the exact word of Imam, I'm just explaining the concept. So, moment can be very much enjoying his life in dunya, but still, he knows that the greatest part has not yet come. This is like just a trailer. The greatest part is coming. Like, they show you a trailer of the holiday resort and you are going to be there. You enjoy looking at trailer, but you are not yet there. When you go there, you enjoy more. So, this is a very important discussion. I just made it very short. That why some people are worried about death. It can be because they are attached to dunya. It can be because they are worried about what they have done for their akhirah. And I gave you a test.